Cuba's military budget is smaller than the price of a single American F-35 jet. Their pilots haven't flown in years. Their tanks sit rusting in underground tunnels. Their navy is 3 patrol boats and a homemade submarine nobody knew existed. But this country once deployed more soldiers to Africa than any nation in history, more than the British Empire at its peak. They sent tanks, MiG fighters, and 337,000 troops to a war 8,000 miles away, and they won. And yet the last time someone actually tried to invade this island, they got destroyed in 72 hours. So the real question is, could Cuba actually stop a foreign invasion right now in 2026? Cuba's military structure falls under the Ministry of the Revolutionary Armed Forces, MINFAR, commanded by Corps General Alvaro Lopez Miera, an 82-year-old Angola and Ethiopia combat veteran. The FAR comprises 3 branches: the Revolutionary Army, Ejército Revolucionario, the Revolutionary Navy, Marina de Guerra Revolucionaria, MGR, and the Revolutionary Air and Air Defense Force, DAFAR. Active personnel stand at approximately 50,000, according to both Global Firepower 2026 and the CIA World Factbook, down from 235,000 inches, 1,994. The Army accounts for roughly 35,000, 40,000. The Navy, 3,000, 5,000, including 550 naval infantry. And the Air Force, 4,000, 10,000. Estimates vary widely. Reserve forces number around 39,000, 40,000. The real force multiplier is the paramilitary. Cuba's Territorial Troops Militia, MTT, numbers approximately 1 million civilian volunteers, making it the 3rd largest paramilitary force on Earth, behind only India and Bangladesh. Combined with the 65,000-strong Youth Labor Army, EJT, total paramilitary strength reaches roughly 1.14 million, meaning over 11% of Cuba's population is technically part of the defense apparatus. Cuba's defense budget is notoriously opaque. CIPRI's last recorded figure was $128.6 million in 2018. The most recent year data exists. Global Firepower lists $3.3 billion for 2026, but this almost certainly reflects PPP adjustments and inclusion of internal security spending. The CIA World Factbook estimates military spending at 4.2% of GDP, 2020 estimate. The IISS military balance explicitly excludes Cuba from its defense spending analysis due to insufficient data. For context, the U.S. defense budget exceeds $900 billion, roughly 7,000 times larger. The force is organized into 3 geographic commands: the Western Army, headquartered in Havana, the Central Army, Matanzas, and the Eastern Army, Santiago de Cuba, each aligned with Cuba's Defense Council structure of 14 provincial and 169 municipal defense zones. Cuba's ground forces inventory looks impressive on paper, but tells a story of systematic decay. The backbone consists of Soviet T-55 and T-62 main battle tanks, designs from the late 1940s through 1960s. The T-55, T-54 fleet is the largest component, with total inventory estimated at 701,100 units. Global security tracks 700. Cuban military historian Rubén Uribarz and the Oryx Handbook cite up to 1,100, including stored vehicles. Of these, perhaps 100, 200 are operational at any given time. Many have been upgraded with KTD-1 laser, rangefinders, and additional armor, but the core design is 50-70 years old. The T-62 fleet stands at roughly 200, 400 total, 200 per Global Security's active count, up to 400 including storage per other sources, with an estimated 5,100 operational. Many were upgraded to T-62M standard with improved fire control and add-on armor. The T-72 question is genuinely disputed. IISS Military Balance 2010 listed 51 T-72s for Cuba, and this figure has propagated across databases. However, no photographic evidence exists. The T-72 Wikipedia operators page does not list Cuba. Global Security's detailed tables exclude T-72s entirely, and specialist analysts at Oryx and Fold Apocalypse explicitly state Cuba has never operated the type. This claim should be treated as unconfirmed and likely erroneous. Armored vehicles include approximately 5,400 BMP, 1 infantry fighting vehicles, sharp decline from 400 originally, 70 BMD, 1 airborne vehicles, and 150 plus BTR, 60 APCs in various configurations. Cuba's most creative military engineering appears in its domestic conversions. The BTR 100 mounts a T-55 turret on a BTR 60 hull. The BTR 115 pairs a T-62 turret with the same chassis, and various artillery pieces have been bolted onto truck and tank platforms by the Unión de Industrias Militares (UIM). Artillery inventory includes approximately 500 towed pieces, D-3122mm howitzers, M46 130mm guns, and various 152mm systems, 140 self-propelled guns, 20 Soviet Standard 2S-1 Gvozdika, and 22S-3 Akatsiya, plus roughly 100 Cuban improvised SP conversions and 175 200 multiple rocket launchers, primarily BM-21 Grad systems, which Cuba manufactures domestically under the designation B-21. The 1998 DIA assessment, still the most authoritative declassified evaluation, found Cuban armor and artillery at low readiness levels due to severely reduced training, generally incapable of mounting effective operations above the battalion level, with equipment mostly in storage. Every indicator suggests conditions have deteriorated significantly since then. The ongoing fuel crisis restricts vehicle operations to rare exercises. Since 2015, a program called Thucino has repaired over 1,500 vehicles, though most are properly greased and stored rather than actively deployed. An air force that cannot fly. Cuba's air force has suffered one of the most dramatic collapses in aviation history. At its 1,990 peak, DAFAR operated approximately 230 combat aircraft, the most powerful air force in Latin America. By 2026, multiple analysts assess that all fixed-wing combat aircraft have been effectively retired from active service. MiG-29 Fulcrum, Cuba's most advanced fighter. The number delivered is disputed. The most commonly cited figure is 12 MiG-29 A+2 MiG-29 UB-14 total, delivered in October 1989, though Cuban-connected sources claim only 7 or 8 arrived. The original plan called for 35-45 aircraft to equip a full regiment, but the Soviet collapse killed the program. Cuba's last confirmed combat use of MiG-29S was the 1996 Brothers to the Rescue shootdown. The last photographed MiG-29 activity was a MiG-29 UB FAR 900 in August 2016. As of 2026, assessments range from only 3 remain to all completely out of service. Without Russian spare parts and adequate fuel, these aircraft are almost certainly grounded. MiG-23 Flogger. Cuba operated 4550 across multiple variants, MF, BN, ML, UB. These were deployed to Angola in the 1980s, where Cuban records claim 5 South African aircraft kills. Last confirmed active sightings date to 2016. The Scramble Aviation Database lists all Cuban MiG-23S as retired. MiG-21 Fishbed. Once numbering over 100 aircraft, only about 412 may technically remain in inventory. Specific aircraft were spotted during the 2016 Bastion exercises, but regular flight operations are not confirmed. The helicopter fleet Mi-8, Mi-17, and Mi-24 Hind attack helicopters represents the most active aviation element, though exact numbers are uncertain, roughly 4 to 8 of each type. Where Cuba has invested is air defense. In May 2025, Cuba completed the most significant military modernization in decades, upgrading 144S 125 Petchera surface-to-air missile launchers to the Petchera 2BM standard with assistance from Belarusian defense company ALE VKRP. The upgrade included full electronic overhaul, improved radar guidance, extended missile life, and critically mounting the systems on T-55 tank chassis for shoot and scoot mobility. Factory tests successfully hit all 4 training targets. This transforms Cuba's primary air defense from static Cold War relics into mobile, harder-to-target systems capable of engaging air, ground, and maritime targets. Cuba also operates 75 Divina 7-2 systems, the same type that shot down USAF Major Rudolph Anderson's U-2 during the 1962 missile crisis, though these are extremely obsolete. The 2K 12 Cub/6 provides medium-altitude tactical coverage and has reportedly been reactivated. Short-range defense includes 9K 33 OSA mobile systems, Strela 1 10 vehicle-mounted SAMs, and Igla Strela manpads. Extensive anti-aircraft artillery, ZSU-2-34 Shilka radar-guided guns, ZU-232 twin cannons, and heavier 57mm and 100mm guns creates a layered low-altitude threat. Cuba does not operate the S-200 SA-5 or Buck SA-11 SA-17 despite occasional claims. No credible source lists Cuba as an operator of either system, a navy reduced to patrol boats and shore missiles. The Cuban Revolutionary Navy has essentially become a coastal patrol force. Of the 3 Kony-class frigates received from the Soviet Union, 1,981, 1,988, one was sold to the Cayman Islands and scuttled as a dive reef in 1996. Another was scuttled near Varadero in 1998, and the third was likely scrapped at Cienfuegos. All 3 Foxtrot-class submarines delivered between 1,979 and 1,984 were non-operational by 1997 and have been decommissioned. Cuba's most capable surface combatants today are 2 Rio de Muji-class converted fishing vessels, BP-390 and BP-391, each armed with C-201W anti-ship missiles, twin 57mm guns, and 25mm cannons. One POC 2-class corvette remains nominally in inventory, but its operational status is questionable. The DIA flagged it for potential scrapping back in 1997. Patrol capability relies on approximately 12-20 Zouk-class inshore patrol boats shared between the Navy and the Border Guard troops. Tropas Guarda Fronteras, which Cuba manufactures domestically. The real naval capability lies ashore. Cuba operates approximately 20 mobile Bandera coastal defense missile launchers, a domestically produced copy of the Soviet P-15 Termit Styx anti-ship missile, plus roughly 10 additional P-15, Termit, Rubeige launchers, and 12 Frontera self-propelled coastal defense rocket launchers adapted from Soviet RBU 6000 systems. Many Styx missiles were stripped from deteriorating OSA-class missile boats and repurposed for these shore-based systems. One genuinely surprising asset is the Delphin-class midget submarine, a domestically built vessel roughly 21 meters long, displacing about 100 tons, possibly influenced by North Korean Yugo-class designs. A 2020 tourist photograph and satellite imagery confirmed it remains active, operating from Cabañas base. It represents a niche asymmetric capability, though global firepower lists 0 submarines for Cuba. Black wasps, tunnels, and the doctrine designed to bleed invaders dry. Cuba's most credible military capability in 2026 is not conventional. It is asymmetric. The war of all the people, Guerra de todo el pueblo doctrine, formally adopted in 1980, is modeled on Vietnamese total people's war concepts. Its core premise: deter invasion by making the cost of occupation unsustainable through total population mobilization and protracted guerrilla resistance. The doctrine divides the entire island into defense zones under 14 provincial defense councils and 169 municipal defense councils, each capable of independent action if communications are severed. The regular military serves as a professional vanguard, while the MTT militia, organized into local battalions, would conduct guerrilla operations, ambushes, sabotage, disruption of supply lines. Annual Bastion strategic exercises test this system. The most recent, Bastion 2024, was conducted January 21-25, 2025. Cuba's Special Forces, the Black Wasps Avispas Negras, formerly the Mobile Brigade of Special Troops (BMTE), Military unit 4895 number, approximately 1,200. Highly trained personnel organized into 2 battalions. They train at the Baragua Special Forces School in Pinar del Rio, which includes a full-scale mock city with underground tunnel networks, artificial lakes, and swamps. Foreign instructors have included Vietnamese, Chinese PLA, North Korean, and Russian Spetsnaz personnel. Black Wasps operate in 5-member autonomous subgroups, all parachute and scuba qualified, armed with an eclectic mix including AKS, 7.4U, SVD sniper rifles, and the Cuban-made Alejandro anti-materiel rifle. Underground infrastructure is a critical but poorly documented element. A 1,992 UPI report confirmed approximately 34 kilometers, 21 miles of tunnels beneath Havana alone, built as bomb shelters. Global security reports. Miles of tunnels have been built to counter an anticipated invasion since the early 1980s. A CIA declassified document confirmed MTT members were extensively involved in the construction of tunnels throughout the island. Military equipment is stored in underground caves and hardened facilities. Recent reporting suggests Cuba is prioritizing the hardening of tunnel networks and underground command centers against precision airstrikes.